like to say that I'm representing the Sister Song Women of Color Reproductive Health Collective as co-founder or treasurer, a national coalition of over 80 women of color organizations and over 300 individual women of color members. And I'm speaking on behalf of Sister Song because the mission of Sister Song is to amplify and strengthen the collective voices of Indigenous women and women of color to ensure reproductive justice through securing their human rights. We lift the voices of Indigenous women and women of color because our voices are not heard. We share a history of multiple oppressions that have consistently been about the enslavement and eradication of our people. We share a history of reproductive oppression, which we define as the control and exploitation of women, girls, and individuals through our bodies, sexuality, and reproduction. The regulation of women and individuals thus becomes a powerful, strategic, political, and corporate pathway to controlling entire communities. It involves systems of oppression that are based on race, ability, class, gender, sexuality, age, and immigration status, all of which are protected and addressed by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It is a raw reality women of color face still today in matters of health, employment, housing, education, political representation, and sovereignty over our land and our bodies. It is the basis of what we at Sister Song call the intersectionality of struggles, which are not adequately addressed by any one of our single-pronged advocacy efforts so far, except for the human rights framework. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is designed to protect and address the multiple dimensions of oppression, thus providing an intersectional solution to the effects of multi-pronged, systematic barrage of institutionalized oppression that has disproportionately affected people of color. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights declares that these rights, which are economic, social, spiritual, and political in nature, are indivisible and must be secured and protected simultaneously. One does not preclude the other, nor does one provide protection without the others in place. The new president must first and foremost pay homage to the indigenous nations upon whose land we walk. Then I assert the new president must recognize that there are pockets of third world countries in this here United States where people are living in destitute conditions, suffering human rights violations in the richest country in the world. He need look no further than our prisons, our foster care agencies, our homeless shelters, and the lower Ninth Ward in the aftermath of Katrina to see the indignities suffered by our people. It is incumbent upon the new president, while he provides economic relief to the middle class, to extend the relief to the working poor, the impoverished, the disenfranchised, the homeless, and the hungry. The economic downturn has been spinning downward on our people of color long before it hit Wall Street, without any government bailout in sight. As he champions human rights throughout the world, we demand to see an immediate national strategy to eradicate human rights violations in America, beginning with cleaning of the toxic waters that affect the breast milk of our indigenous women, to free all political prisoners, safe haven to frightened foster children, victims of domestic violence, free health care and housing to all those living with HIV/AIDS, return the dignity and the quality of life to our elders and our immigrants. And to those here today, Sister Song asserts that the human rights framework carries the potential of strengthening all our advocacy and activist efforts by leading us to a common strategy framework that promises to unify our efforts and achieve collectively what we cannot do individually. Thank you.